Hello and welcome back to the channel. I've covered the best budget defenders and the best budget midfielders. Now I'm going to cover the best budget forwards for your dream team this season. So let's get started. We are going to start with the £3 million best budget forwards. So we start with Brobbey for Sunderland. Last season he scored 7 goals in 32 appearances. So he scored a goal approximately 1 in 5 games. He often shared minutes with Isidore. Brobbey often started but was replaced with Isidore sort of 60-70 minutes in, and I can't see that changing this season, especially as Sunderland are in Europe, so they're going to have to rotate quite a lot between all positions to conserve each player's energy essentially for preparing for more games and playing more games. So that's the risk with Brobbey, is that he's potentially only going to play 60-70 minutes each game, but there are more games because Sunderland are in Europe. Because they're in Europe, they don't play that EFL Cup game after Ipswich. They have a great first 3 Premier League fixtures to start the season though: Ipswich away, Fulham at home and Brentford away. But there are 2 away games in this, and we saw last season how Sunderland were so much better playing at home. So they may be good fixtures, but I guess we do need to consider that they were much better at home. So as for an asset, he's okay, but I think there are better options for similar price, which I'll talk about shortly. And just need to be aware that he's likely not going to play the 90 minutes every game. So next we move on to another £3 million budget forward in Osula for Newcastle. So he scored 9 goals in 35 appearances, so sort of averaging 0.25 goals per appearance. Now he didn't always start, he didn't always play many minutes. It was Voltemade and Visser that came in for Newcastle for big money. Voltemade started the season, did very well, and then sort of tailed off. Visser was injured at the start of the season, and he's not really sort of shown up since his big move to Newcastle. Towards the end of the season, Osula was playing as that number 9, and he did really well. He started once in pre-season. Visser's come on though, he scored 2 goals from coming off from the bench. Looks like Voltemade still staying in that number 10 position. So there's no assurity really, unless Newcastle fans in the comments can give us any light about who's going to be their main number 9. I do think Osula has a chance because he's sort of breaking through into the main first team, and I think the new manager seems to be recruiting a lot of younger players, so he may be that may be his sort of plan, is to work these guys up while they're young and start developing a really good team again. So I think Osula has a chance of being the main man if he's given the chance, but I think the first few fixtures are not great, of course. They're going to give us a bit of an insight into how Newcastle are going to set up under this new manager. Their fixtures are Liverpool at home, they then have an EFL Cup game, and then they have an away game at Tottenham, which is another hard fixture, and then Bournemouth come to the Toon, so I think that's also quite a difficult fixture. So he's not one to go for at the moment, but just one to keep an eye on in case he breaks through this season and becomes Newcastle's main man. Now the last of the £3 million budget forward assets is the best option at this price bracket in my opinion. Of course that should have been highlighted in the green for the cheaper price, £3 million for Jesus. So he plays for Forest, and last season he scored 16 goals in 52 appearances. He also contributed in assists as well, 5 assists in 52. So very good stats last season. He played quite a bit more because Chris Wood was injured. Chris Wood seems to be okay now. In pre-season though, He has sometimes played as the main centre forward, and he's done incredibly well. I think he's scored 3 or 4 goals in pre-season, Jesus, so he's really hitting the ground running this season. But Chris Wood has also played some minutes as well in pre-season, and in one game they were playing together actually, so we will just need to see how they do in the final pre-season game. They may have played it by now by the time I'm recording this, but I think he is the best asset so far, a great price, but he only has the one great fixture in the first 3 Premier League games, which is Leeds at home, and that is a good fixture. And then after that, they have an EFL Cup game, which we've learnt last night is going to be against Leeds as well at home. So, I mean, what are the chances of this happening? Nottingham Forest playing Leeds in the same game week at the City Ground in 2 different competitions. Crazy. So he's probably not going to be involved much in the EFL Cup game, if at all, but that's the first great fixture to target. An enabler while the budget is low. Hopefully get some returns and get the price rise. The only thing is, if you do hope for that and you want to chase the price rise, the next fixture they go away to Liverpool after the EFL Cup. So, and then the third Premier League game they are at home to Tottenham. So the fixtures are not great. Apart from that first game, which I think he's got a real good shot of getting some great returns in, there's a bit of a risk keeping him in the team initially, but definitely one to have in your team if your budget is limited to start with, or one to keep an eye on when the fixtures turn for the better. So we move on to the £3.5 million assets. So there's a couple here. Calvert-Lewin, in my opinion, is by far the best of the two, Evan Nielsen being the other one. So Calvert-Lewin for Leeds last season, he did amazingly well. 15 goals in 39 appearances. So it's 0.38 goals per appearance on average. He is the main number 9. He played quite a bit last season. He's previously had some injuries, but he seems to have been okay last season. And he's the main focal point really for, headed goals, tap-ins. He can do quite a lot, and he can take the penalties. He does take the penalties as well, so you've got that aspect of his game as well. Fixtures are some of the best for Leeds to start with. They go away to Forest, so it's Calvert-Lewin versus Jesus in the first fixture. It is an away fixture for Calvert-Lewin, but it's an okay fixture. And then they have an EFL Cup game, and that's that EFL Cup game where they go back to Forest and play them again. But I don't think Calvert-Lewin's going to play. I think the Metro will come in for the cup game, so it's really just the one game focusing for Calvert-Lewin in that first game week, and it's whether you want to have him in your team for an away fixture. But the games are great after that in the Premier League. The second game is Brentford at home, so good fixture, and then they go away to Brighton, which is an okay fixture. So Leeds have some of the best first few games, and Calvert-Lewin, for his price, I think he is a great option. In contrast, I think Evan Nielsen has been overpriced considering his data last season. I can only think that they've priced him at this price of 3.5 million because Bournemouth are in Europe, so he's going to have more games this season, so they're probably thinking about that. Last season he scored 6 goals in 28 appearances, so for their main centre striker, that is very poor. 0.15 goals per game on average. He did come up with a few assists though, 4 assists, so almost as level as Jesus as well. But the data is not great, and I don't particularly like the fixtures at all. City away, they then don't have an EFL Cup game. They do have that Everton at home fixture in the second game week, and then they go away to Newcastle. I'm not a fan at all at Evan Nielsen. I don't think his output is great. I think Bournemouth have better attackers that are more likely to get a goal and assist, really. course, he's the main man, but the data is just so poor when you can have Calvert-Lewin for the same price, and he got over double the amount of goals per appearance, and in total Calvert-Lewin scored 2.5 times more goals, albeit he did play more games thinking about it, but it's just over double the amount of goals per appearance that Calvert-Lewin scored over Evan Nilsson, and they're the same price. So yeah, Calvert-Lewin is the one to go for.